my computer. We'll find out.
Ours has lost its optics, which makes meetings painful.
All right, before we start a room. I think we're good. Can you hear us, Maggie? Can you unmute and talk so we can see if we can hear you?
Yes, I can hear you, but your boy,
Yeah, we
it's,
can't.
there's some
All
kind
right.
of telescoping thing going on.
That's a problem.
There is some kind of weird telescoping thing going on, or
Try again.
He's like willing it.
yeah,
No,
there's some kind of
still don't hear. All
woo-woo
right, let's see.
thing
Is
going on.
this on the right?
Think about arson.
It's like you have theater in the round or something.
Check, yeah, that's what you want, right?
Yeah, now let's try again.
Can you hear me now? Yes. I said it's like you have theater in the round or something. You're very,
We couldn't hear anything. Can you hear, is our audio okay?
yes, your audio's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure that the right microphone is on. Yeah, owl. Okay, good. Fantastic. Take it away, Kathleen.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our last meeting of the year. Thanks for being here. Introductions.
Yeah, I can do a roll call vote since we're very high.
I was like, introductions, we all know each other.
We do. But I'll roll call anyway. So when I say your name, please say here, Cressy,
Here.
Abel,
Here.
Kate,
Here.
Pete,
Here.
Creighton,
Here.
Kathleen, Maggie.
Here.
Yay, fantastic. Thank you.
Now,
No Christine today?
No, Christine, she had a prior commitment and Randy emailed to just a few minutes ago to say that she's not feeling well, so she is
very good.
so
She doesn't give up easy.
she does not.
A lot of people are really sick right now.
Is the season.
Yeah. So, so as we begin, I just want to offer an acknowledgement of the land that we are hosting this meeting on, the land that we live on. Some of us work on, is the homeland of the Wabanaki people, and has been stewarded for thousands of years by the tribes here in Maine and their predecessors. And as we think of our work about stewarding the land and conserving the land, I want to acknowledge this long history of stewardship that is this area and that we can take model from. So hopefully. Any other comments or changes to the minutes from last?
motion to approve minutes from the last meeting. Second.
I'm taking your job.
No, it's your job. You're the chair.
Okay.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you all.
So we don't have a lot on our agenda tonight, but we'll have time for some conversation about goal setting and updates. But first, is there anyone who would like to make a public comment?
Sure. You haven't seen it, we're having a open house this Saturday, 9 to 5. I'll be there all day and we'll have different board members coming in for little shifts during the day. Ask us any questions you want, talk about anything you want, everything's open. Come get maps of the properties, stuff on pollinators, anything, and then holiday shop. We're stocked up for the holidays. We have a nice little store. And so we hope people will come and check it out. I'll say hi, 9 to 5 Saturday.
Great. Have you guys always had the little store part?
No.
It's
like, I was there for the first time the other day and I wanted to stay, but we had another meeting to go to. It's really cute.
Yeah, this is beautiful store.
Good
They
stuff
had,
in there.
what they had before barely qualified as an office.
God, yeah.
It was like
Yeah.
a closet. Yeah, this is a huge upgrade.
For any member of the public who might not know where your little store is, you tell us.
25 Plaza Drive near the car wash, unit 6.
And we do have a member of the public with us on Zoom. So if you wish to make public comment, please raise your hand and we'll allow you to talk. All right. No hand. If we can move on.
So the last time we met, we were talking about goal setting and, the minutes laid out a really good foundation for what we discussed. I don't know if folks have things that you've been thinking about or what we wanna, where we wanna go. Or should-
Yeah, I can share from a staff perspective that with all of, well, for a number of reasons. We are going to be focusing on low impact development ordinance. I know we've been talking about this for a while. It's actually happening now. Both because we have the requirements from the Department of Environmental Protection for what we're going to be held to as part of our stormwater permit, but also in the wake of LD 1829, that may give us some opportunity to like, if a lot of development or residential development is coming, at least let's get measures in place to make sure it's being done responsibly. And so from a staff standpoint, that's where we're going to be, and we definitely see a role for Conservation Commission in that process.
I would second that. I think it was really, really important to the information. You know, and the fact that so we get a larger buffer, you know, through earlier, I just think here's an opportunity to really try to impact the how development's gonna happen, and so I just think it's a strategic opportunity. Should try to jump in where we can.
I agree. I think that was what am I surprised that you brought it up? I was ready to do it if nobody did.
Yeah, it's going to be a large task. It's a little overwhelming for us as staff because it is very all encompassing. And so trying to figure out how to even approach it is, I think, is a challenge. And we know like Portland has started and they have kind of like a score sheet, and you have to hit a minimum number of points in various sections in order to be considered in compliance. And even that DEP and EPA is saying, yeah, no, that's not quite where it needs to be. And so it's we're not quite sure how we're gonna get to where they need us to be, but it's definitely something that staff are motivated to.
I just love this, we're having this conversation because it's not a model ordinance out there.
Yeah, the language that DEP has provided to us is really not helpful. It's not like strong enough. There's too many ways around different things, so we don't want ways around what the requirements
You
are.
don't have to get into an argument every time.
Right, yeah, we want to remove ambiguity
Yeah.
and opportunities to kind of not comply. Yeah, exactly.
Jamie, are the RPOs providing any support on the implementation of LID, sorry, regional planning organizations? So like GPCOG or, yeah, we're in GPCOG, yeah, so GPCOG.
Yeah,
providing-
they're not really, and that this isn't necessarily like. This isn't really their area of expertise in terms of ordinance, the types of ordinance that they typically support. There was an effort with the Cumberland County Soil and Water Conservation District like 2 years ago now. But even that didn't quite hit the mark, and it was probably close, but it's not, there was some of the requirements that they wanted in there either conflicted with our comp plan or our existing zoning, which I think is probably gonna happen, and we're going to have to figure out how to address some of that stuff, but also it just didn't make sense for certain things in Scarborough, and I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what they were, so, but that was really just that process happened before DEP finally said, fine, this is what we want your standard, what we want you to write your ordinance, the standard that we want you to write your ordinance to. So really, now that DEP has said, this is what we want, like, we just need to figure out how to incorporate, we just need to figure out how to
It's not
incorporate
clear
that.
enough what they want.
Right, yeah, and so some of the language was like, oh, and these things are optional, and it's like, is it optional for our ordinance, or is it optional for like the developer, like, we have to have it in the ordinance, but the developer doesn't have to comply? Like, can you explain to us how this like one section is optional, for example? And some of that's cleaned up a little bit. But there's still a lot of work to be done, and like I said, figuring out how to fit it into our ordinance, and really what they've provided to us is the minimum, and so that we may want to suggest going above and beyond in some areas. If, the community will support that. Right, exactly. Yeah, and I think, the presentations that Autumn has done recently about growth, I think that, and, our buffer ordinance has been in place our wetland buffer ordinance has been in place for almost a year now, and there hasn't been a lot of pushback on it. And so I think council may be open to strengthening that a little bit.
Well, we did pass the minimum. Not a minimum, but.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, well,
minimum.
yeah.
Like the minimum.
Call what it is.
So to catch me up here, is this every municipality or just those of us who have certain qualifications?
So there are 30 municipalities in the state that are required to pass these ordinances. 14 of them are in the greater Portland, Biddeford, Saco area. So there are all of the communities in Maine that have a federal stormwater permit. So they're the developed areas. It's like the Lewiston, Auburn area, Bangor, Brewer, kind of southern York County, and then greater Portland.
Okay, so that's the triggering.
Yeah.
The mechanism for it. Are
Yes.
there any other commonalities? What I'm looking for is some kind of synergy, some effort that we could maybe
Yeah,
bundle
so
up with
we-
people.
we have been talking a bit with South Portland, and about this. And Scarborough is part of a regional group of the 14 communities that are in the greater Portland area that are subject to this federal permit. It's a federal permit that's administered by DEP. So DEP has oversight over our programs related to that permit. And so, yeah, we're trying to collaborate as much as possible, and this is the one good thing that, like, we're not going it alone. We're not like putting our neck out. We're not the only ones that are required to do this. So at least like all of the kind of more developed communities in this area are in the same boat. So I think we run into situations where developers say, oh, well, I don't have to do this in such and such a town, but they're going to have to.
That helps.
Yeah, when you get criticized, you are hanging out alone.
Yeah.
Because you're the only target in a given moment.
Yeah.
Right, so, yeah, sorry to make you feel bad, but.
No.
Yeah. But that's how it happens, as we
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that helps me understand a little better. Thank you.
Mhm.
Can you explain more about the timeline for this in terms of the perspective of the town, like what that process might look like?
Yeah, so, we are, looking at summer 2026 to have it in place, so it's going to be a very,
That's a crunch.
really fast, turnaround. There is, I mean, we learned a lot from the, wetland setback process. We're definitely going to need to engage with, the development community sooner rather than later. We don't have anything to share with them at this point, so it's gonna be a little bit of time. But ultimately, the state's telling us that this is what we need to do, and so we can go harder on certain things, but they've given us the minimum that we need to meet.
Yeah, I can understand the connection between, so you have the stormwater permit. And all of these communities that have have to get those permits have to, they're being required to develop LIDs.
Yes,
Okay, okay, so that's what's triggering the LID.
Yeah.
Right, but, and then the shortened timeline is because we wanna beat the LD 1829 implementation?
no, it's just the time frame that was laid out in our permit.
Okay.
Once the,
So it's, so that is just quick because that's the way they've said it.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, and there are some communities that are appealing and things like that, but we just feel like we wanna move forward.
Yeah.
And the time is right to move forward with it.
Follow-up question, what is the, like, what is staff's, I guess, expectation of the commission as it relates to the LID process?
So I think it's going to be a lot of review and discussion of the requirements. I think we'll probably try to go section by section, because there are different kind of larger, there are like 9 elements that we need to meet. So I think that we'll be looking at a couple elements at a time to see, you know, do we feel like this is going to make a difference? Do we think that we need to, you know, beef up certain areas, thinking about maybe even taking like a case study of a recent development project and thinking about how things would be different with this ordinance in place, because basically what the LID ordinance is going to do is entirely change how sites are developed. So instead of like buying a parcel and saying, this is what I want to use it for, and trying to cram it all in there, they're going to have to look at their parcel first and think about what are the setbacks from natural resources, how does the water flow through the site, and how do we maintain that natural flow as much as possible? No, it's how it should be done.
Yeah, well, that's a good change.
And, you know, minimizing impervious cover, focusing on native plants, which we've already taken a step towards that direction. You know, perhaps doing some, like harvesting of rainwater, keeping it on site as much as possible. Infiltration is a big one, preserving high quality soils, things like that. So,
I'm sorry, does it apply to all development or is there some sort of threshold?
right now, I think it's, can't remember if it's an acre of disturbance or if they've ratcheted that down. I think they've ratcheted it down because a lot of things were trickling through. But I would have to go back and double check that. But yeah, so it'll be our site plan and subdivision, developments. And so anything that goes before planning board, that is going to disturb a certain, minimum amount of soil. And I think it's less than an acre at this point because a lot of 0.99 acre, things were squeaking in.
and it's all residential development, it isn't.
If it would be residential as part of a subdivision, so it would, so like, you know, building, you know, doing a lot split and doing a single family home that goes through just code office, that wouldn't trigger it.
Okay,
And chances are they're not gonna disturb, well, unless they're totally like clearing a lot. They wouldn't trigger it probably anyway.
And one last question, it's not a moving target anymore, right? The language from DEP is finalized.
The language from
Now
DEP,
it's
well,
up
it's,
to the communities to change things as they see fit.
yeah, like I said, there are communities that are appealing it, so, there's one, Lewiston is appealing it, and so that may have a kind of trickle down effect, for other communities, but I don't see it getting weaker.
Okay. Wow.
So from left field, this has to be in these, I'll have to learn to call them LIDs, have to be in place in other states.
Yeah, there are other,
There's gotta be some boilerplate.
there are different ways that
starting
other
stuff.
states are dealing with this. So for example, in Massachusetts, they have nutrient standards, and so they have, basically, their state DEP has done a lot of work on this and has basically come up with, the nutrient load levels for basic, almost every watershed, in the state of
God bless them.
Massachusetts. And so, since they know what the pollutants are that they're supposed to be addressing, they've also, Massachusetts has put together basically a laundry list of the different, practices and things that need to be implemented on the site so that they are addressing those target nutrients and hitting their nutrient load numbers. That's not how Maine has chosen to approach this. It's a little bit different because in Massachusetts, their stormwater permit is actually administered by EPA. And so their state DEP has more capacity to do some of this work and like basically support the municipalities with their permit implementation. So that's not the situation in Maine.
Are you telling me the teamwork approach is not going to work? We're on our own.
I think there are other states like way over on the other side. Might have to examples.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, okay, Jen. what's the-
Washington.
Yeah.
And Oregon.
Yeah, those other wet states.
And
They're probably, and
It's very wet. state.
yeah, and I can tell you, like,
I don't think we wanna use.
Oh, they're in deep.
I'm looking at one like right now that, in Washington, it's the Puget Sound and I'm like loving the table of contents that I'm seeing.
okay, good. So Autumn's all over this.
also geologically, we are basically the equivalent of Puget Sound.
Yeah.
The Pasco Bay
Good point.
area is.
When we're done.
Good.
Holiday pay. No problem.
No, thank you for breaking us out of this Maine, New England bubble. That's
No,
fantastic.
I mean, I know that I've found, I go elsewhere a lot for other, I don't go south, so I don't go middle.
You know, if, to the extent that there are goals in common and standards in common and preservations, attempts at preservation that are in common, why not hop on, you know, so anyway.
Yeah, and I hope that we can get to some like tree protection and preservation through this also. I mean, we're hearing from the community like loud and clear that you don't want to see the large scale cutting and things like that. And it's just like, that's gonna be a hard one to, I think, regulate, but it sounds like you and Helen have been talking a little bit about.
We're at such this fortunate time that all the things have come to, and if we take advantage of it and cow it, we can do it. We can get a lot of it done.
Well,
You
that's
good.
the thing, it feels like 1829 was this like, okay, here's your marching orders, like, we have to figure out like a lot of things.
Well, and
And
it's-
then LID
Yeah.
happening.
Mhm.
It's kind of an opportunity too for everybody, I think, like, quit griping and complaining and let's all figure it out and move forward, because now it's the state, not the town,
Yeah.
not a counselor, not a this or that, it's not staff, not a commission.
Got those tree
We,
huggers.
right, it's like, we really have to get off the beat.
Probably.
Yeah. Please,
Plans
Yeah.
that are in place, and so we know so much more than we did just a few years ago, so we have so much more information.
So one question I do have is,
Mhm.
once these LIDs are, let's say, adopted, the ordinance is adopted, developed. How will it interplay with, I mean, so because the 1829 foresees like jamming a lot of. You know, much denser housing, so. How are they still be able to do that under the LIDs or what, what do you, just some thoughts on how you think that there'll be, where's the interplay between?
A lot of LD 1829 is about what people that own a house now can do on their lot, like,
Okay.
they haven't. I don't think they've done, I don't even think they have any idea what they've done as far as how subdivision happens.
Okay.
So I think we're gonna have some. We're gonna have to deal with density, but we're still gonna be able to deal with all of our other things, all of our other things still.
Okay.
Are under, you know, they still count our setbacks and our frontage requirements and things like that. We just have to figure out what they are, so they aren't crazy, so we still get. They pass the muster of like, yeah, we want a 5,000 square foot lot that has a 200-foot frontage, well, that's not gonna pass the straight face test, so. I
Yeah.
think we still have some ability to do what we need to do.
Okay.
do the LID requirements obviate, supersede our setback and wetland buffer standards automatically? Is it more restrictive?
I think so, the way they'll have to be written probably, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think we usually, I think the more strict regulation typically takes precedent, so.
Okay.
And it may mean, you know, updating those so that they're not in conflict, so like, yeah.
So you said there's like 9 categories, you got.
Yeah.
In like 6 months.
Yeah,
Share that.
I did, and I'll reshare it
Oh,
also.
yeah, that'd be great.
That's.
It's exciting, it's just, it's.
a whole lot.
Just a thought, you wanna have some of our meetings focus, when you're ready to, you know, like, we're gonna tackle these categories.
Should probably start.
Yeah, so I think the approach that we're gonna, I think that we will take is we will pull together drafts and have stuff for you to look at and respond to, as opposed to like putting it in front of you and be like, all right, how do we, how do we make this sausage? Like, we'll work on making the sausage and you can be our taste testers, like you can try it out.
Too spicy.
Yeah, not spicy enough, too bland.
And do you think it'll also involve a lot of ordinance review? As well,
Well, I think,
not on our.
probably not on our end, yeah, that's gonna be like Autumn's fun job to do, is to make sure that the, when she's thrilled out. With her copious amounts of staff.
She's got to blow herself.
Yeah, a couple times. Yeah, it'll be,
It'll be fine.
she's the one that said this is an opportunity.
Everything is an opportunity. I just came from yoga and peaceful.
We're stressing her out. So, yeah, we'll see, and you know, maybe, January should almost be like an intro to low impact development, and we'll do like an education session and
Yeah,
kind of
that'd be
talk a
awesome.
little bit about
Yeah.
what that all means, like what we're talking about, kind of orient you a bit.
Yeah, the lens we need to start using.
Alright, perfect, January, LID workshop,
No, January's next month.
yeah, I do,
Yeah, it's not very far away.
Will we have two?
We have stuff
people
from-
at our January meeting, or
I'm not entirely sure, and Karen's on, so she might be able to answer that, how, when appointments will meet, sometimes not until February or March, when, the new members are officially, appointed. Hi, Karen.
Hi, I think the question was if the appointments committee was meeting in January, is that
Yeah,
correct?
or like
Um,
the timeframe for new commission members.
I will check in with the clerk because it's a lot of work for the clerk. And I haven't seen anything yet. So I'm not sure if that'll happen in January. But now is actually the time to check in because it would be helpful for it to happen in January. So hopefully we can make that happen.
Yeah, I feel like it's usually like February, like we get the notification February at the earliest, and sometimes the like official like council process isn't complete until early March.
We, in department head today, we do plan on having a meeting in January, but it does take a couple of meetings.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Over February?
So hopefully we'll at least know in February who they are, and then, and you would typically will invite the new members to attend before they're officially kind of like appointed and sworn in, just so they can start getting.
And you're not allowed to leave until there's another person. That's what I'm told my committee members, like,
No, I need meeting, I may attend that.
so like.
We were just gonna
Sounds
keep
like
reeling
a-
it
yeah,
back
I felt
in.
like
So
that.
pretty public.
Yeah, of course.
You say it.
I'll keep you on the list. I'll keep you there, so you see the agendas. Yeah. So I think that'll be good, and we always have, other just in terms of like work for 2026, because theoretically, this will be done in July or August, theoretically. I'm sure it will not be, but theoretically. And so we'll have other, I think, things crop up throughout the year, and we definitely have opportunities with between the climate action plan, vulnerability assessment, open space plan, maybe a trails and sidewalk master plan that is looking farther and farther away. No? You need the funds.
I wanna do that.
The optimism.
Short-term rentals and LD 1829 and trails and sidewalks. Fine.
Yeah, Autumn's gonna kill herself. She's getting a science, a
It's always
chemistry
sweet.
kit over
It's
Christmas.
super related though, like.
Okay.
I mean, tech planners, I could just shut the door for a couple of months.
But you can't, so.
Cause my zoning administrator is retiring in
Oh.
acres. And my replacement that we offered the job to did not accept, because she got a better offer, so now we're starting over.
Oh.
I'm not.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
So if anyone has an awesome recommendation for a zoning administrator, reach out. We need someone. Yeah,
Didn't our code enforcement officer retire also? Or is retiring?
it's
It's
Brian,
Brian. Brian.
That is our.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, yeah.
so that is,
Probably he was also zoning administrator.
Yeah, that's his title. That's,
Oh.
he does less code and more zoning administrator.
When is he done?
Thursday.
December 24th.
He's kind of like, is he part-time right now? Like, no? he's
No,
still-
he's working tonight.
Well, I know he's got zoning for it.
Over there. No.
I thought he was like,
Mm-mm.
okay.
No, he's fully, yeah, that's not happening. I have his phone number. So it's Nick, we're losing our town assessor.
Yeah, that's
He
the other
is,
biggie.
Good.
Leaving. He's not part-time.
Yeah.
Right. Do we have anything else about the update? Sounds like we have, our goals are preset for us.
Thanks for being on board with that.
You sound positive in.
Yeah.
For sure. And hopefully. Karen, do you wanna give a town council update?
Sure. I mean, we're gonna have our goal setting session in January, I think, and so I think that'll be interesting to see what comes out of that. You know, we just turned over council, we have a new counselor, we just created new committees. We only had one new counselor come on, so there's not a lot that's changed. So, you know, I'll talk a little bit real quick because you guys are talking about goals. I am the chair of the ordinance committee again this year. So I always encourage, if you feel like there are ordinance changes that you think would be good recommendations coming out of this commission, you would have my support to at least get, you know, some airtime on those. You guys have come up with some really good ideas over the years, but I understand, you know, we have lots of ideas and also staff has so much capacity. But I'm always, you guys are the experts in this, and I feel like maybe you see things and maybe have ideas that we're just not seeing. So, you know, if there are some things you think of after this, it would still be great to hear them. I think personally for goals, I mean, unfortunately, my biggest goal this year is not conservation. It's more short-term rentals. So I think you're going to be hearing a lot about that at the beginning of the year and things like that, because that's kind of a priority for council. When you talk about the low impact development ordinance, can't wait to see what comes out of that. I think it would be great to have your support with making it stronger. You know, Jamie mentioned some loopholes and things like that. I'm sure that they're already thinking of maybe ways to make it stronger to avoid those loopholes. And I think having your support behind going beyond the bare minimum is always great. I like to start off strong, and then if we have to take some stuff away, that's great. But, you know, I say like go big and let's see how far we can go. So I think your role in that will be super helpful. Sounds like it's going to be a lot of work though. So we'll see how that goes. just, I will say one of the things that's been on my mind for a while that I think, and I've heard, comments here and there, specifically probably coming out of the Downs, and Autumn, correct me if I'm wrong, like, I don't think we currently have anything in our ordinances that requires, if a development so big to maybe they're required to have open space, but can we push it more and say like a playground or something like that? Do other towns do things like that? What?
Sorry, we talked about that Monday night.
Which I wasn't
that
there.
We're getting a lot of, I asked, so department heads had a meeting with the majority of the counselors just to talk about goals. And it's kind of just a session where they get to know a lot of department heads because not everybody goes to council all the time. But I brought that up because we're seeing that more and more, and everybody was really on board with that being.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I was really excited to hear that. Like, let's start
Okay.
requiring that and having more discussion around that, especially if we're gonna start getting these smaller lots and.
Yeah, they need
Yeah.
places.
Yeah. We talked about even maybe having just a prototype playground that, community services has recommendations because we don't have a lot of facilities. So Karen, I got really excited about that. And when we do the trails and sidewalk master plan, I'm gonna add a little bit more money so I can maybe get like some playground sort of thinking and spacing added into it. So in my
Right.
brain, all of it connects to all of the things, the trails and the sidewalks and the metro transit stops and the Eastern Trail it's all just, if I could just get it out. It'd be great.
Yeah, no, that's awesome to hear. And so obviously that would be welcomed if it came at least to the ordinance committee to entertain that, and to hear that the council's behind that is even better. And then lastly, I think one thing I've been plugging away at is the clear cutting. I think, we've talked about that a lot, and now we've moved forward and we have it restricted on, regulations on town properties, which is a great first step. I can tell you there is a little bit of appetite with council to see restrictions on commercial properties, and clear cutting and things like that. And so I don't know if I think that's something I'm going to pursue during our goal setting session in January, and kind of see if people are feeling that as well. And then if that is so, then I would hope to bring that back to you guys at some point as well. Oh, and then one of the other things I wanted to mention was that if we have a building moratorium, that will open up Autumn's, time a little bit, because she won't be, doing building permits and things like that. But if this LD 1829 is going through, I do foresee some sort of building moratorium in the future. So maybe your time will be a little bit different.
Did you want to say something?
Oh, I was gonna say, Karen, I think, the great thing about the tree preservation and tree removal too, I think it's timely because we can incorporate a lot of that in LID. And we can incorporate it in a lot of the 1829 conversations, because it doesn't really apply to residential, it's more about commercial. But so LID is a really good way to do it. And I've heard really positive things from the council too, that they're wanting to do that too.
Yeah.
The poster child for our zoning ordinance helped out with a lot of that, the apartments at Muzzy and the Eight Corner apartments.
Yeah.
Helped out with unfortunately a lot of things.
Excellent example of what not to do.
Yeah.
But
how do we correct that?
Exactly what we
allow.
allow.
We had some comments on those.
PCLB.
Maggie,
Update.
Yeah, so I think the last meeting, I'll just reiterate that we are aligning everything we're doing with the open space plan. And so we had a meeting, our last meeting, Viewshed came and gave us a demonstration of an online, kind of like an app of our evaluation tool that we're going to be able to use. And we had, so we're, and at the same time, we're also looking at revising our application process, our application form and the processes around it. We had a long discussion about all of our processes around using these. I mean, who's going to be using the app? Who's going to be using the, and which persons on staff are going to be supplying information and how we proceed with that. So there's going to be a turnover, I think, at the end of this year of 2 or 3 really long-term board members. And so it's really important for us to get these processes down pat and the new tools, and that so that it's all aligned with the open space plan. So we're looking at revising a handbook, our handbook, so that it's all in place. So so that when all the tribal knowledge leaves, we've got something we can fall back on. So a lot going on, and I think we're continuing to get applications, a lot from the land trust, of course, but so yeah, moving ahead.
Great. Do you want to do transportation committee, or do you want me to?
Oh, I didn't go last night, but Angela, Transportation Committee met last night and they reviewed, where we are with the complete streets. Guidebook that should be coming forward in the next month or two, a draft to review, and then, there's a design, we're still working through a design for East Grand Ave, and that'll be coming forward. What else did they talk about? Scotto Hill, do you have an update on Scotto Hill maybe?
I don't have a huge update on Scotto Hill Road. We it's looking like we are going to receive funding through the Maine Natural Resource Conservation Program. MNRCP might sound familiar.
And
They're still talking.
we'll have to
to
give
us.
it back, right?
They are still talking to us after the the Sawyer Street disappointment, Scotto Hill Road. So it does look like they are going to recommend funding for that project. And so that proposal was to remove the Scotto Hill culvert and discontinue that end of the road. And the town would look at creating a connecting road in a different location to get people between Payne Road and Scotto Hill Road. We're looking at kind of the community outreach and engagement around that to really understand where the community is with that proposal. And hear concerns and things like that. So that's coming in the new year. We should know for sure about the grant early to mid-January. We have spoken with the abutting landowners, and they are open to that possibility of removing Scotto Hill Road from that section. So we'll see where things go with that. And just in case you aren't sure what complete streets are, because it's another kind of jargony term, but it's basically road design that takes into account all users. So active transportation, transit, traditional vehicle transportation. So we have a new interactive app on the town's website. You can get there through the engineering page of the website, and engineering to transportation. And basically, you can either click on a segment of road, click on a road, search for your address, and it'll tell you what the recommended kind of complete street or what type of street it is and what maybe applications for complete streets may be appropriate for that location. The guidebook is really going to, I think, help set the stage for as like neighborhood developments happen and things like that. Really thinking about how our roadways and rights of ways are used to the benefit of the community. So not thinking just cars, but thinking about walking and biking and transit also, because you may have heard that Metro is also expanding into Scarborough. There is an online survey right now if you want to provide some feedback about the Metro line. There's a poster in the lobby with a QR code that'll take you there, but I can also send it out and provide some information to them about new Metro service happening in Scarborough in 2026.
If I may, to put on a different hat, At the library, we're asking people who are interested to recommend there be a series of local stops in Oak Hill, that not just be one stop, because that still leaves people high and dry, but that it could be that recommending that there be stops at Hannaford, Town Hall, the library.
Yes.
And that, so that there's a little circuit.
So there are a couple models I think that they're looking at. One would be more frequent service, but fewer stops. So basically it would just be along Route 1. And the other one is less frequent service, but they would go to possibly more locations within Scarborough. So I think those are two options that they're considering. Sustainability Committee was providing feedback saying, you know, this is suburban transit, not urban transit. So thinking about park and ride facilities, so people in Scarborough can like drive to a stop, park their car, get on the bus and go into Portland. That might be something that's important in Scarborough since, you know, we are a large spread out community. And so giving people, opportunities, or recognizing what they need in order to be able to ride the bus. And it's probably going to be parking, especially if they're out in like North Scarborough or something like that. So all of these things that I think Metro needs to hear, because Scarborough's obviously not Portland. So, so thinking about how bus service needs to look here to work well here, it will be different than Portland.
Change of topic, but transportation related, going back to Spurwink Ave, Spurwink Road.
Or Sawyer or Spur.
Sorry, Sawyer
Yeah.
Road and Sawyer Street. I think, if I recall correctly, town councils were gonna get together and discuss really what might be next steps there now that the discontinuous process is not gonna happen. Do we have a sense of what has happened
So
about that?
I think
in
the
terms of
managers are
managing the
going,
road?
the managers are gonna get together first and have
Okay.
those conversations. First step was basically working through the process to break all of the agreements that had been entered into. So, Cape Elizabeth had to notify MNRCP that the project was not moving forward. They had to return all the money that had been spent to date. And so they're kind of working through that process. And I know Scarborough is interested, this will probably be going to ordinance committee, interested in putting weight limits on that road. I don't know if people heard, but literally 3 days after the council in Scarborough had to vote to end the process, the road flooded because we had a very high tide.
I'm just gonna say, and the road is not in good shape.
It is
I drove
not.
it
It is
the
not
other
a
day,
good
and
shape.
I mean, it's cracks all along
Yeah.
the one section, and you can see all the pavement calving off,
Yeah.
falling off. and I
Yeah,
just
there
like,
is no
we're gonna waste
shoulder.
money on maintaining it.
Yeah,
It's my son's.
it's your sun, it's a really nice sunrise. There's a beautiful sunrise from
Well,
that.
I walked this there, and I can't.
Yeah.
So,
And
so
my-
where,
Great. We're here before yours. Yeah. Oh.
where are we with, Jamie, where are we with getting, how do I say this? The upkeep of that and the maintenance of that be handled by Cape Elizabeth?
That is going to be an ongoing discussion between the managers. There's a lot, there's some legal. It's legally, it's difficult for Cape Elizabeth to spend money in Scarborough on Scarborough property. So I don't know how that is all going to play out. I do know that there is interest on the part of the town council. They expressed interest in not investing anything in that road. As Pete mentioned, the road's not in good shape. There's, I think sooner rather than later, something is going to have to happen there. So and I think everybody is aware of that. So there are conversations that need to happen and how we work that out. How the towns work that out. I'm not entirely sure
Okay.
what that
I
process
didn't
looks
mean to
like.
derail, I just wanted.
No, it's a fair question. I have no idea. Yeah, I think from what I've heard from Counselor Anderson, at a minimum, they want Cape Elizabeth to say that when the culvert needs to be replaced, they will replace the culvert.
road's gonna fall apart before that.
Sure is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In the Scarborough side.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, does Scarborough have any legal requirements to maintain a road? I mean,
Yeah.
what if we do?
Mhm.
Okay,
Unless we sell one.
so we can't,
Unless
we
we
just can't let it fall apart.
Can we abandon it?
No, that's what we were trying to do.
Yeah, but we just-
That's what I hoped we could do. Just,
Well, I-
our side of it, just, so it becomes impassable then.
Yeah,
But
I mean, it,
no,
yeah.
Block it off, put up road signs and say impassable road destroyed.
Yeah.
But
Solve
what
the
you're
problem.
telling
All right,
us, we have to.
we
fix
don't
it.
need to talk about this.
I think we either fix it or we close it and, but leave it in place, I think that this is all questions for the town's attorney to kind of weigh in and provide, guidance to us.
Yeah, you gotta go, so we have to maintain it.
Well, I mean, state law says,
What activities,
if you,
like, keep it up.
if
yeah.
Public Works gets a call about a pothole, they have 24 hours to go out and address that pothole. So, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. If we get a call about the condition of the road, like, we have an obligation because it is a town road to go out and fix it, so.
Right.
Even though the town voted to discontinue,
Well-
not discontinue, but, okay, all right, I'll stop.
Even though we want to, yeah, I mean, when you look at our vulnerability assessment and see that we've got 30 vulnerable roads and this is gonna take care of one of them, and like, basically, we wouldn't have to worry about it again, it made a lot of sense for Scarborough.
I'm just biting my tongue over here. Yes, I
know
am.
you are, is it bleeding yet?
Just about.
Thank you for the update.
Yeah. Sustainability Committee, is continuing to explore opportunities to add, solar to municipal properties. It's not an ideal climate right now based on changes that have happened at the federal level and also changes that are potentially happening at the state level, but we're kind of monitoring those. Even without all of the incentives, it may be, there may be opportunities in the future, to add solar to municipal buildings that will essentially stabilize our electricity costs for the next 20 to 30 years. So even if we're not getting a huge payback, it may be worth it since we will have basically a set, we'll know what those expenses will be for a couple of decades, which
Nice.
is a really nice way of looking at it. And it's a good opportunity to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and things like that.
And it models good behavior.
Exactly. So, we're looking at kind of that, following that process, with what's on the federal and state level, and then, looking, like, educating ourselves and, looking into bringing in an advisor to help kind of do some of the evaluation of our buildings, to, basically say where it makes sense, where it doesn't, what upgrades might need to happen in buildings, in order to add solar and things like that.
I know that, just electricity prices in general, and has the town been monitoring that for them specifically of like?
Yeah.
Factoring that into. like-
Yeah, so we actually are currently in a long-term contract. I think we are 1 year into a 4-year contract, maybe 1.5 years now. Where we do have kind of a set rate. It is all renewable energy that we are buying from our for our energy supply. So I mean, we're in a good spot for the next like 2.5, 3 years. So it's now thinking, beyond that, how do we want to proceed? Sure.
Thanks.
And then the climate action plan, will be really getting kicked off, in the new year. We've been doing a lot of the groundwork, so our consultant is doing, our greenhouse gas inventory, and doing the assessment, so we kind of have the baseline for where we are. We have set the brand and the name for the campaign, so it's going to be called Sustaining Scarborough, with the subtagline Resilient, Responsible, Ready. And so all of the work around our climate action plan will fall under the Sustaining Scarborough name and logo, which will be launched in the new year. We'll be starting our outreach and engagement campaign in the new year, and we will be starting with our advisory group meetings, which Abel is the commission's representative to the advisory group, looking at a date in late February for the first of the 3 meetings that will happen for that group. So, and just had a meeting yesterday talking about our different target audiences and how we're going to engage with them and reach them. And so really working on pulling together our outreach plan, for the overall climate action plan. And thinking not just thinking beyond the planning process. So once the plan is in place, how are we going to continue to engage with our target audience? To actually take action and do things, that will help, reach our overall goals once they are set, to reduce emissions, reduce, climate pollution, all of that good stuff. And it will tie back into our, like, open space will be part of that, vulnerability assessment will be part of that. So it's been a really like thorough, and well-organized process so far. So, they seem to think that it's gonna be done in August, which I think is insane. I think that is so fast. I'm like, I really need you to recognize that there's a lot going on. So, that might bump out a little bit. So yeah, but definitely getting underway with that.
Will the climate action plan be adopted by the town council?
It will be
Okay.
adopted by the town council. Fingers crossed.
We just-
Yeah, so in this all, I mean, it will tie back to all of this thing, like transit coming to Scarborough, that's great. That's a
Yes.
great kind of like, part of the climate action plan, thinking about, more renewable energy in Scarborough, all ties back. So,
Yeah, completion of Eastern Trail. you have more-
Yeah. yeah, definitely. So
Wow.
it is all connected.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. That's what I've got going on.
Well, I think before we adjourn, I want to formally thank Maggie and Pete for your service. Very long and less long. But still impactful and very, just really appreciate you being part of this commission and taking the time to show up and do this work, which is not always rewarding. So, but I feel like we've made a lot of strides and certainly both have contributed a lot, so.
Thanks. It's been a fun ride. Thanks for everything. Stop by anytime. Totally appreciate all the commitment, staff on keeping everything going over the years.
I just want to share a little token from the town to Pete in recognition of his 16 years on the
Wow.
Conservation Commission.
Isn't that nice?
A little token of our appreciation.
Oh, showing that, they
Yeah.
can't. Oh, yeah. Very nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you, town. That's awesome.
Yeah, you're 16 years on the commission and 10 years as chair.
Oh, wow.
It was a run.
Wow. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a lot.
And I want to thank you all for, I mean, it's only 3 years I've been on, but I have learned so much from you all. And, I came on with just a feeling about the importance of conservation, but not really having a background in environmental or scientific work at all. But I've learned so much and also about how municipal government works, which I knew nothing about. So that's been very interesting as well. And to see I'm going to stay on the Parks and Conservation Land Board. So it's to see how all these initiatives work together towards making Scarborough a better community and just moving forward with these kind of goals. It's just been very interesting and rewarding. So thank you.
Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you, Maggie.
Thanks, Maggie.
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Oh, I should have, he made a motion. If you could have discussion on that, I really want to say, when I came on, and the first meeting as here, I sat down across from Pete. I said, I'm out of my league. I know. And I learned so much from you. And you set the bar very high. And I'm just hoping that those of us who go forward will always bear that in mind.
Thank you. And then you guys will definitely see me on occasion.
That's great. That's even great.
Especially if we're
But I
talking LRD.
remember.
Riveting stuff.
Especially in June.
Yeah, I just have said, I'll never catch up with him. I don't even know what he's telling me.
And if you guys need like any information on coastal stuff, I'm still a resident, so I'm a resource that can be used.
We have your.
Yeah, I have your email.
And thanks, Town Council.
Beautiful.
All right. Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
Holidays.
We'll see you next